The last time we talked about Tim Walz was over that confession letter. The one where the assassin literally says, Walz made me do it. ICE agents were targeted. Democrats were dropping. And now the story gets even darker because now there's an FBI confession, a hit list with over 45 names, and a direct accusation that Tim Walz wanted a sitting senator eliminated so that he can take a seat. And Kamala, they saying she might be next.
Kamala Harris is in trouble, and I 100% believe that it is extremely dishonest and kind of creepy how other news outlets like this one on TikTok and all your favorite news anchors are giving you watered down, saturated, unuseful information instead of telling you what's going on behind the scenes in politics right now. And it is truly scary, and it almost feels calculated. A lot of people that you guys are getting news from are either biased, paid, and not even paying attention to real journalism, and they're just repeating other sources for information. That is why you hear them say per ABC, per NBC, per CBC, per Fox News, because they're not digging and finding real stories. So please listen to me carefully. Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to say is some of the most sinister shit that is going on behind the scenes, and I need y'all to know our sister girl, she about to be in trouble, and I firmly believe this. What is going on with the situation where two Democratic lawmakers were found, you know what, in their homes while one has passed and one has not, is unfolding to be some of the most chaotic, dark-sided bullshit I have ever seen, and it is absolutely an operation to take out both of these people. The man that was arrested for those heinous crimes is now trying to say that he was appointed to do those crimes by Tim Walz of Minnesota, and that is extremely fucking alarming. He is basically claiming that Tim Walz set this whole operation up so that these two Democratic lawmakers would be harmed. He is not the first Democrat to be targeted. Meanwhile, Democrats are being arrested, and if Tim Walz is up on the docket, who the fuck do y'all think is next? A lot of your disingenuous breaking news people on this app are keeping that shit quiet on purpose, because when they try to give all this shit out and put it on Tim Walz, they will be complicit because they are being paid. I'm telling you, our Kamala is in fucking trouble, because I firmly believe that they are going after every blue person. I can't say it because I don't want to get a violation, but this is my opinion. This is my journalism. This is what I do. I read between the lines. So I need y'all to just pay attention, and we cannot let them get away.
Wait. That was a direct contradiction to what you said in the beginning about people doing research, and then you said this.
I need y'all to just pay attention, and we cannot let them get away with them framing Tim Walz. I don't give a fuck if you like him or not. The shit is in the wall. The writing's in the wall. We all know what a framework sets up is, right? Okay, I'm just saying, this is insane.
Now, she might be a Kamala Harris supporter and on the wrong side of the aisle when it comes to certain ideologies, but here, some point she made, she's not wrong. People are dying. There is political chaos, and the media, they're running cover right now. They're not investigating nothing and providing any real actual substance. They're rebranding it, and it starts with this headline. Watch how CNN tried to hide an FBI confession with a single word. Y'all look at this. DC Drano posted, boy, is this a strange way for CNN to say the assassin told FBI he was ordered to kill Amy, how you say that? Klobuchar? To open her Senate seat for Tim Walz. But hey, calling him a prepper kind of makes him sound MAGA, right? What is a prepper? I got to look that up. This is why nobody reads legacy media anymore, Democrat media. Let's read this thing. It says, suspect in Minnesota lawmaker attacks with a prepper. Wait, what? Suspect in Minnesota lawmaker attacks was a prepper who had drafted a bailout plan for wife, according to the court file. What? A prepper? Really? A man impersonating a cop, fully geared, carrying a tactical vest, a mask, multiple firearms. And what, 70 names on a hit list? And CNN says he was just a prepper. So let me ask you, what are they really trying to hide? because the media spun distractions. Tim Walz was already under fire for another disaster. Y'all, let's roll a clip.
We've known Tim Walz for less than a week, and we've already found out he let rioters burn down cities, lied about his military service, crushed small businesses, and turned Minnesota into a child sex change sanctuary. But that's not it. Tonight, we're dropping another Walz bombshell. As governor, Walz let a gang of politically connected Somali fraudsters steal $250 million of your money.
What?
It was the single biggest COVID scam in American history. During the pandemic, the government was just giving out money left and right. A nonprofit in Minnesota, Feeding Our Future, got $250 million to send food to needy kids. Sounds good, right? Here's the problem. Almost none of it was used for food. The Somali scammers blew our cash on real estate, cars, extravagant get trips. We have wire transfers that show thousands going to car dealerships. $160,000 went to some company in China. And $500,000 was sent to Kenya to buy an apartment. A $500,000 apartment in Kenya is probably a palace. But our tax dollars weren't just used on goodies. The politicians got a taste too. Ilhan Omar got thousands of dollars in donations from some of the scammers. These guys weren't criminal masterminds. It was sloppy. When they cooked the books, they made up names of their fake clients. They came up with these names. Are you ready? Unique Problem. Friday Donations. How'd nobody catch that? Well, early on, Walz's administration thought it looked a little suspicious, so they froze the funds. Then the Somalis sued and called Walz racist, so he kept letting them steal. They didn't bother to crack into the bank accounts or issue subpoenas. Walz just put his hands in the air and said, I'm not racist. Take whatever you want.
Wow.
Minnesota has a huge Somali population. You can't get called racist and expect to win another election there. Walz even gave one of the fraudsters the Minnesota Outstanding Refugee Award. 3 years later, she was indicted. No thanks to Walz, the feds came in after he ignored the problem for years. During the trial, the Somalis tracked down a juror and dropped off a Hallmark bag on their doorstep, filled with 120 G's, and a little note saying there's more to come if she acquits. This all happened under Walz's nose. He had every chance to stop it and failed. Just like he failed to protect his city during the riots, and just like he failed his unit when he retired before deployment. This is the guy Kamala Harris chose as her number 2.
Yep, that was the guy. $250 million. Gone. Fake kids. Fake nonprofits. Stolen food funds. And somehow Walz still rewarded the ringleaders instead of stopping them. This wasn't just ignorance, man. This was protection. And now the same man who let that happen is named in an FBI letter. Here's what federal investigators revealed. Revealed about the actual assassinations. Now, I actually clicked on the wrong clip. Here we go.
Belter then traveled to Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, in the home of Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman. At approximately 3:30 a.m., Belter arrived at Representative Hortman's house in his black SUV with the police license plates. He parked in the driveway and left the emergency lights on his SUV flashing, as if he was a police officer. Belter approached Representative Hortman's home, again dressed as a police officer, wearing the tactical vest and body armor, and wearing that hyper-realistic mask. He was armed and carrying a flashlight. Before he entered the home, 2 Brooklyn Park police officers arrived at the scene. They too had been dispatched to check on Representative Hortman after learning of the shooting of Senator Hoffman. When they arrived at the scene, they saw Belter's black SUV parked in the driveway with the emergency lights flashing, and they saw Belter standing in front of the house several feet from the door. When Belter saw the officers get out of the car, he drew his weapon and began firing. He rushed into the house through the front door, firing into it. He repeatedly fired into the house, and when he entered, he murdered Representative Hortman and her husband, Mark. The Brooklyn Park police officers fired at Belter as he rushed into the home, but he escaped into the home and out the back. Officers recovered Belter's 9mm Beretta, along with the body armor and the mask, behind the home along his path of flight when he fled on foot. They later searched Belter's car, where they found 5 more firearms, including assault-style rifles and a large quantity of ammunition. Belter also had in his car notebooks containing a list of more than 45 Minnesota state and federal elected officials, including Representative Hortman. Now, Belter planned his attack carefully. He researched his victims and their families. He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of their family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about the location of their homes. He also prepared in other ways. He concealed himself as a police officer, outfitting his black SUV with police lights and a police license plate, wearing a black tactical vest and body armor, carrying a police flashlight and a handgun. And of course he wore that hyper-realistic silicone mask as seen on the surveillance videos. The video of his arrival and shooting of Senator Hoffman is truly chilling. Again, it's no exaggeration to say this is the stuff of nightmares.
Fake police lights, tactical gear, a realistic silicone mask, 5 guns, 45 political targets, or 70 at one of them numbers on paper, and a planned escape. Yeah, man, that wasn't random. This was military level preparation, the way they're describing it. And the first people on that list were Democrats. Melissa Hoffman, Senator Hoffman, Amy Klobuchar. I'm just learning about Amy Klobuchar. I don't want to sit here and try to. And remember, we just looked at that CNN spin, right? Because according to the suspect himself, it didn't come from him, remember? We just looked at this. The man told the FBI he was sent to eliminate Amy so that Tim Walz could take her seat. And instead of running with that confession, CNN calls him a prepper and pretends this is a lone wolf case. Now, if this was Ron DeSantis or Greg Abbott's name in that letter, would they still be calling it a theory? Because, man, the people, they're starting to call it something else entirely. Something else entirely. My guy, Chicago Ray, says, raise your hand if you want the FBI to investigate Tim Walz if he had anything to do with the murders of Melissa Hortman and her husband. This apparently is your guy right here.
Hello, my name is Vance Belter. I just go by Vance. No other names that I use. I live in Greenell, Minnesota, about an hour away from the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. I'm affiliated with 2 funeral homes. I work full-time for Wolf Funeral Home, which is an intake location for about 6 funeral homes. And we also do all the intake for the National Cremation Society and the Neptune Society for all their cremation customers as well. So I mainly do removals at this point. So I work at Wolf full time, and then I also work for another funeral home called Metro First Call, and they also do traditional removals at nursing homes, assisted living apartments, but they also have contracts with.
All right, there's really no real reason to play this clip all the way through, if I'm being completely honest with you. Just getting a glimpse into who he is, I suppose. It's unsettling when somebody wrote. It's unsettling when a man explains how he is in the dead body business in the food industry, and then what? He just sort of sidestepped for a refreshing change into the get rid of people business. And of course, I'm with Chicago around this. I do believe the FBI needs to investigate. These are the American people asking these questions and calling for this. And if the people start demanding federal investigation, it's usually because the story no longer adds up. And it ain't adding up to me right now. The math ain't mathing. And here's the part they don't want to go viral. Because this is what Tim Walz, looked like when he had to address it on camera, apparently.
That's the embodiment of how things are supposed to work. It's not about hatred. It's not about mean tweets. It's not about demeaning someone. It's leading with grace and compassion and vision and compromise and decency. That was taken from us in Minnesota. That's the embodiment.
That ain't grace. That's a man sweating under pressure. Let's connect the dots real quick, y'all. Tim Walz gave refugee awards to convicted fraudsters. A man murders multiple lawmakers and claims Walz gave him the order. The FBI finds a 70-name hit list, and CNN covers it with one word: prepper. So here's the question. Why is the media so afraid to say what the FBI already knows? And how many more people have to die before someone finally asks Tim Walz, hey, what did you tell him? Listen, y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.